Welcome and or welcome back to my channel. I'm Hannah Blackwell and today I'm going to be bringing you my March TBR. So February's not been the best reading month. In fact, it's been quite the slump for me between everything going on with the government, which definitely affects me and my family as my husband is a government employee. So things have been really hard recently, to be honest, and just lots of unknowns and stress and fear and a hard time, honestly. But I have managed to read one book and I'm in the middle of two other ones. None of them were on my TBR from February though. I want to be gentle with myself, but I also want to get myself out of this reading slump. Wow, this lighting is like super, see if that's better, sorry. I really want to be gentle with myself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about two books that I probably will be reading in March, and then I'm going to do 3 polls, and I might talk about some books that I'm interested in. So let's just do that. I'll only put 3 books on my TBR for March, it's like officially, because I did fully fail my February TBR. Now, the one book that I did complete so far in February actually was the last book from my January TBR. So I've now officially read every single book from my January TBR. So that's pretty cool. So it was like a super win and then an ultimate fail. But that's okay. Before I get into this, if you haven't clicked the like button, go ahead and click the like button and subscribe too if you haven't already. All of my social media is linked down below in the description, including my Goodreads, my Instagram, my Patreon. I have some really fun stuff coming up on Patreon I'm excited about, but y'all will hear about that like later on in upcoming videos. Anyway, let's just go ahead and get into this video. The first book that I think I'm going to be reading in March is a buddy read with April from Happily Ever April. We're going to be reading Forged by Malice. And this is book 3 in the Beast of the Briar series by Elizabeth Helen. It's a Why Choose Beauty and the Beast reimagining. I think there's going to be 6 books total. This is the 3rd one, and we've buddy read the first book and the second book, so it's going to be fun to buddy read the 3rd book with her. I'm really enjoying this series. I have just really liked every book. I think the first book is my favorite still so far, but I've heard really good things about this one. I've heard it's really, really good, so I'm definitely excited for it. The tension is tensioning. This book, this series, these relationships, like there's so much pining and emotion and it's super steamy, but it's also like very slow burn and I'm having the best time with this. It's such a good White Shoe series. I highly, highly recommend. And yeah, I'm supposed to be buddy reading that in March. So hopefully like my slump kind of like gets kicked in the butt. And then I also want to read I Got Abducted by Aliens and Now I'm Stuck in a Rom-Com by Kimberly Lemming. Now this has been the Patreon red wine tier of my Patreon, the buddy read pick for spring. So I could really read that in March, April, or maybe like beginning of May, but I do want to go ahead and mention that here because I might be picking that up in March. I don't know. But like I have a couple months to read it. So we just do 4 buddy reads a year with my Patreon red wine tier. And we just kind of like vote on it and buddy read it together and chat about it in like the cozy corner of the hideaway, which is like a little corner of the hideaway that's just for patrons. And I'm looking forward to this one. I love Kimberly Lemming. This is her new release. It's like an alien romance release and I love alien romance. I'm excited to see how Kimberly Lemming does with alien romance. The cover has like a dinosaur and an alien on it. It looks like it's like in a jungle. I'm very, very intrigued by this. I can't wait to read it. And I actually haven't read the synopsis for that one. I think I'm going to leave it that way because yeah, I don't know the actual technical synopsis. I just know I love Kimberly Lemming's cozy fantasy romance books that are super spicy, super funny. So I'm so excited to read her new release. So now that we've talked about the 2 books that are kind of like on my TBR that I just know I want to read coming up, let's do some picks. I think, like I said, just 3. I'm just going to do 3 unless I'm feeling like really good about it. And then I'll just talk about some other books that I might be interested in. I'm going to probably try not to pick books that are too long either because I do know Forged by Malice is almost 600 pages. So it's already kind of long. Okay, I don't think I've ever gotten this one before. Okay. So this is purple or pink on the cover. Okay, because I'm only picking 3, I'm not going to pick Forged by Malice for this one. I don't think, because I feel like that's kind of cheating. But if I pick purple or pink on the cover, I think I'm going to pick Venom and Glory by S. Williams. This is Shanora Williams, and this is the third book in her Cartel Mafia romance series. It's a trilogy that follows the same couple, and I've really enjoyed the first and second book. This is a super dark mafia cartel romance. It takes place in Mexico, and our heroine is there for her destination wedding with this, I think he's in the Italian Mafia or maybe in the Cosa Nostra, I can't remember. They're getting married, it's their wedding day, and they're on their way to their honeymoon, and they get stopped by the cartel. And he gets pulled out, and she is, like, he's unalived and she is taken captive. It's a captor-captive romance, and it is so good. It's very dramatic, it's very spicy, but it's also extremely dark. So check the triggers for this one because it really gets quite dark. So this is the third book, and I can't wait to finish the series out. I really want to finish more series this year. That was definitely a goal, but also at the same time, I'm in a reading slump, so I want to read books that are super fast-paced. Well, this series is quite fast-paced. These books are very fast-paced. Mafia romance tends to be like really quick reads for me, so I think this is actually perfect, and the cover is almost all purple, so I think this is a great pick. I'm actually excited. This is like, we're off to a good start. I don't want to get too excited though and then be like, I'll just keep pulling and then like get disappointed when I don't get to them. So, okay. Let's see what this is. Oh no. Backlist. I feel like a backlist book isn't really what I'm looking for right now, technically, just because of my slump. Like, if it's on backlist, it might be backlist for a reason. I don't know. Okay, let's look. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I know I said I wasn't gonna pick long books, but I am going to pick Goldfinch by Raven Kennedy. Now, hear me out. Yes, it's very long. And is this backlist if I only just read the previous book? I still think so, because I've been reading the series for so long that to me that counts as backlist. Does that make sense? Like, I've been meaning to finish it out for a while. Technically, this book itself is not backlist, but the series is a series I've been trying to get through and complete for a while now and really enjoying, and I've started it a good long while ago, so I am bending the rules, I guess, just a little bit, but this is my TBR game, and that's what I'm going to do. Also, the audiobook comes out in March, and I did pre-order it, so I think that having the audiobook that's going to help me too with me being slumpy at the moment. So I think having the audiobook is going to be a big help, even though it's long. I'm a little bit nervous about like having 2 completion books of series on my TBR while I'm slumping. I don't know if that's the smartest idea right now, to be honest. I was kind of wanting to like try to get into new series, but at the same time, I know I like these characters, so that's what I'm doing. I'm not going to take it back. Goldfinch by Raven Kennedy. Okay. And let's do the next final, like the final pull. Okay. I feel like I pull this one quite often. Kindle Unlimited. And I think I might even have it in there twice. I can't remember because I really like to read a lot of Kindle Unlimited books. I'm trying not to support Amazon as much right now, but I do still have Kindle Unlimited because it's so important for indie authors. So technically, all of the books on my TBR so far are on Kindle Unlimited. I think I'm going to be picking up The Goddess of by Randy Gardner. This is the first book in the Fragile Divine series. This one looks really unique and cool to me. So this is about the daughter of a high sea goddess, and apparently she doesn't have any power. She ends up turning to the high god of death and curses to help her out, and I guess that in order to help her, he says, okay, I will help you if you allow me to curse you, and you don't know what the curse is going to be. I'm guessing she accepts, and she flees to the mortal land, and I think she might fall for a mortal there, so this is very intriguing. Number one, I like the whole gods and goddesses aspect of this, especially like the sea goddess thing. Number two, the cover is absolutely stunning. I know April's had this on her TBR. I think Jess is reading this. It's on her TBR coming up, so I kind of am just feeling the wanting to read it kind of around with everyone else vibes. I think Jess has it for one of her buddy reads on her Patreon too. But this is just looking so good. It looks very intriguing to me. and it is a new series, so I really kind of want to read some new series or start some new series. It's exciting. It's something exciting I can look forward to, as opposed to kind of like finishing out a series kind of feels like a to-do, as opposed to starting a series kind of feels like a treat. And I'm not sure what creates that feeling, but that's definitely a feeling that I get. So I'm glad to have like a new fantasy romance on my TBR as well. Okay, so those are the 3 books that are on my official TBR, plus I've talked about 2 books that I will probably or want to read coming up in March or April. And I do want to talk about some other books that I'm very intrigued by right now. Some of them might be on my TBR that I posted recently. It was my Fantasy Romance TBR. So if you want to check that out, that can give you an idea too. But one is A Promise of Peridot, but that is a sequel. So I don't know how many more sequels I want to read. But that one is a really fun fantasy romance, but it's not on KU, but I do have it. Like I have a physical copy of that one. I'm also very intrigued by Empire Flame of Thorns and House of Beating Wings, Blood and Steel, basically like all the books, okay? All the books that are on my fantasy romance TBR. Those are all really like intriguing to me right now. But yeah, I don't know. We're gonna just have to see. I might try something cozy, or maybe like right now I am reading a nonfiction that is a memoir, and it is, I will pop it up right here. It's about this Holocaust survivor. It is a memoir. It's basically her story of surviving the Holocaust, and that has been really hard to read, so I've been reading it really slowly, but I should be able to finish that one out before the end of the month. We'll see. But I might want to read maybe like another nonfiction, so we're just gonna have to see. I'm gonna try to like play it by ear and mood read some and just kind of like do what I want for the most part to try to make sure I am like not slumping anymore. I don't want to slump anymore, but it's hard, you know, it's a hard time. I know a lot of people are slumping right now too. Let me know. I think that I want to do a video on books to get you out of a reading slump, because I've gotten myself out of many a reading slumps, and there's obviously many books that did that, and I kind of want to look through that and also give myself inspiration for maybe what I can do or read to help get me out of this slump. If you have any tips or tricks, please let me know. But that's it for today. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and click the like button, and comment down below with your tips and tricks to get me out of a reading slump, because I would really appreciate it. Until next time, fellow readers, keep reading and living your best life.
Why you never said you felt that way? Guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until